Okay.
It looks like we're recording. So anyway, so everybody needs to know you're being recorded if anybody's saying anything. So, or, you know, so. All right. Lucinda, are you there? Can you chat me or unmute yourself and say hi? I think Lucinda's in Oklahoma.
Oh, wow.
I think. Is that right? Let me text her, maybe or chat her. Okay. All right. Very good. Okay, so, all right, you guys, I just kind of wanted to chat about what my plans were for this year as far as marketing and as far as everything, just so you got to know me and a little bit more and kind of understand where we're at and where we're going and some other ideas I had. And I just want you to know, well, let's start. So I'm Donna Webb, for those of you guys who don't know me or haven't worked with me before. I am a dietitian in private practice, Bright Sky Nutrition. I have been a dietitian a long time. I'm also a certified diabetes educator, and worked at Cox Hospital for off and on over the last 20 years. And about 6 or 7 years ago, I guess, we really started to embrace the whole food message and really started to kind of think outside the box and not teach. And those of you guys that have been through the dietetic Cox internship, you know this. And Kara, you might know it from talking to Leah a little bit, that it's a little bit outside the box, a little bit alternative. Actually, it feels alternative, but it's just whole food. You know, it's not really that weird. It's just not doing the low fat food. Anything, I don't ever recommend anything artificially low fat or fat free. And for most of my patients, they have some sort of inflammatory thing going on. So we really teach about how to remove pro-inflammatory foods out of their diet, how to introduce new or anti-inflammatory foods into their diet, which requires cooking and menu planning and thinking about food a little bit more. And that's really the big challenge of it. But people are still shocked to hear they're not supposed to eat fat-free salad dressing and they can have cheese and they can have bacon, and you know, they're just completely thrilled and completely shocked. So the message is always really, really fun to tell people. So so because it's a non-traditional message, I didn't feel completely comfortable to be able to teach what I knew was working within a healthcare system. So I had pushback from some of the endocrinologists at Cox, and I had pushback from some of the management at Mercy. So really, this was a great fit for me to come outside of that and be able to really do some cool stuff in private practice. So that's why I'm doing private practice. And I've been in private practice, I guess I technically started in 2015, but really went full-time more like last summer. So doing it more and more full-time. I do still work for one online company that kind of does this similar stuff, but it's very, very diabetes specific. It's actually promoting diabetes drugs, which I am an anti-diabetes drug person. And so it's kind of just been a little bit selling my soul to the devil kind of thing. So I'm hoping to kind of really work away from that, but it's helped to pay the bills while I'm getting my private practice business started. So it's probably been almost 2 years that I've actually been accepting insurance. And so, yeah, I want to talk about myself just for a second more. I need to let you guys know that I am, which I think is important, that everybody knows this, that I am a believer in God, and it's a big part of my life. And so I'm a prayer, and I have, I'm very, very much have testimony in my life of stepping out in faith and having God do amazing things. So that's what I'm hoping and praying about with this is that, and actually we've got some cool things sort of on the foundation. So God's already answered tons and tons of prayer, even with you guys being here today. It's been an answered prayer. So anyway, so just know that about me. You might hear me say something about Jesus or hear me say something about prayer. So if you're not comfortable with that, this might not be the right place for you. It's not going to be all we talk about is Jesus, but that might slip in sometimes. You're like, hey guys, I'm praying about this, or you won't believe what God did today, or that kind of thing. So you will hear me kind of use some of that language because that's a big part of who I am. So anyway, I wanted to kind of get that all out of the way. Any thoughts or questions so far about any of that? Okay. So what's going on now? So what I have found, and I talked to some of you guys about this. I'm going to let my dog out because he's kind of being a distraction to me. Okay. Actually, it's my mom's. We're dog sitting. So, okay. So, as part of the Affordable Care Act that came out, all insurances are required to cover some preventive services. So, the insurance companies get to choose which preventive services they cover. Many insurance companies are covering medical nutrition therapy as a preventive service. And preventive services are covered 100%, no deductible, no copay. And that's what makes it great for our patients or our clients. Okay, so that's what's really cool about it. So what my marketing strategy is, or my business model is I find those companies, or I get in network with those companies that are covering MNT 100%. So then we do focused marketing at companies that have those insurance companies. Does that make sense? Did I explain that right? So we get in network with an insurance company, and then we market to corporations that have that insurance as their benefits director. So the ones that I'm in network with right now are Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield, and United Healthcare, and Cigna. So I have focused marketing in those in Missouri right now that have those insurance companies. Does that make sense? Questions about that? Okay, all right, so that's how it works. So so I've gotten some pretty strong relationships with some key, decision makers at some corporations that have those insurance companies. So now we kind of want to push it forward a little bit stronger, have a little bit more structured marketing with those companies. And let me tell you, so what we're doing is partnering with the wellness programs. And many, I'll say most wellness programs are doing biometrics. So they draw these lab values, and typically it is their lipids, glucose, possibly an A1C, probably weight, blood pressure, possibly waist circumference. So pretty simple, easy things to get. So we've got this cluster of biometrics that basically are the definers of metabolic syndrome. So we can look at that cluster and we can't, metabolic syndrome is not a diagnosis, and we are not allowed to make a diagnosis, but we definitely can say, yes, these are the criteria that determine pre-disease, basically, pre-heart disease, pre-diabetes, pre-hypertension. That's basically what metabolic syndrome is. It's pre-disease. Now, they get all these numbers and nobody's talking to them about it, all right? They might have a red, yellow, green system, and I got a yellow this year, or I got a green, or oh my gosh, I got an F, and it might be a grading system like A, B, C, D, F kind of thing. Oh my gosh, I got an F, or I got a C, and that's really all they know. They don't engage with those numbers. They don't have anybody like telling them really what they mean, and the fact that they can do something about them. Nutrition heals all of that. Nutrition heals all of that dysmetabolism. So, and you guys may or may not know the statistics on this, but 50% of Americans have glucose issues, whether it's pre-diabetes or diabetes, 50%. And the rates are even higher depending on which state you're looking at, but generally it's 50%. So I can go into these companies and talk to them about 50% of Americans have blood sugar issues, whether they have diabetes or they have pre-diabetes. And that's 50% of your workforce. You know, it's the people they actually work with. And the amazing thing is that we have MNT that will help with that. The only interventions that work on the disease is nutrition therapy. You know, it's lifestyle management, and nutrition therapy as a giant component of that. And that's what's really, that's our unique gift. I mean, that's the unique thing that we provide. So the other thing is talking to these corporations, these wellness programs. We have, I would say, a lot of competition out there, but nothing like this. Nothing with one-on-one, individualized nutrition professionals doing that complete history, that complete medical history, and developing a individualized, personalized program for them. And then we have the expertise to do that coaching and help them to do it. Not only is it the science part, but it's obviously the lifestyle part, menu planning, recipes, how do you cook it, all of that we bring to the table. The competition we have is usually like a video series that maybe their employees are sent a video once a month or once a week that might be a 10 or 11-minute video. Or there's some apps that people are engaging in. Or there's health coaches that may or may not be dietitians, but they're not doing MNT. They're doing a 10-minute coaching session to say, hey, what are your goals for this week? Were you able to exercise 3 times this week? But nothing is that comprehensive depth that a dietitian brings to the table. And I've been told this by every single wellness coordinator I've talked to. Every single one of them says, we have nothing like what you guys are doing. And it's so funny because we've been doing this for years, 40 years. I mean, I didn't invent MNT, you know, this is like so cool that they're thinking we're so innovative. Like, okay, sure, whatever, that's great. So, anyway, so that's our niche. That's our unique piece of the pie that we can bring to the table that nobody else is bringing to the table. So, so these groups or these companies that I have relationship with, what I'm doing now is I'm connecting with all of them to do a sit down with them to plan 2019. And what we want to do is we want to get into the building. We want to get into the building because as much as these wellness coordinators love us, our real moneymaker is the MNT, is the one-on-ones with the patients or with the clients, with the employees. So if we can have them sign on, and it doesn't really cost the employer anything. There's a few components that they are welcome to pay for if they want to, but the big thing is we want to get to their health fairs. We want to be on site as much as possible to get people to sign up for MNT. So we want to get in on site on their health fairs. We want to do a lunch and learn right after they get their labs run. So as soon as their biometrics are, our biometrics are in April. We want to get in there in May and do a lunch and learn and tell them how valuable those biometrics are and how much we can help them with it. Okay. So my idea is to get in on their health fair days, right after biometrics, and to somehow be on site about every 3 or 4 months. So we can do a lunch and learn on site every 3 or 4 months and actually have somebody there signing them up for their appointments while we're there, while we're on campus. So depending on how close they are to Springfield, I have an office in Springfield and we've got some flexibility to use that office. But if they're too far away, or even if they're in Springfield and they just want to do a telehealth visit because it's more convenient for them, then they can sign up for a telehealth visit. So we have a large group that kind of has many sites all over Missouri. I've got Assemblies of God that has 800 employees here in Springfield. And then I'm also doing some work with, or doing a big presentation this week with a group called Leadership Springfield. And it's vice presidents and directors from a bunch of different corporations around Springfield. And so I'll be able to engage with them this week. And And then from there, we just keep finding those companies that that we can market to, that we can really help. I also do a 4-week, what I call the foundation class, which is a 4-week class that basically is Whole Foods focused. And we do one week it's looking at labels, 1 week it's talking about lipids, 1 week it's individualized meal planning. And I think the first week is just foundational. So, and that one we charge for. So that's a program that I just charge in a lump sum, where the company pays me to give that, and they can send as many employees as they want to. So those are just some ways we want to get into the building. That's our goal, is to get in the building, whatever way we can. So a lot of those things I offer for free, as far as the health fairs and the lunch and learns, because we really want to get into the building. Now, the other thing we're trying to get done is that the employees get, some companies offer wellness bucks or something if they engage in so many wellness activities, if they do a 5K, or they lose weight. Lots of different activities they can get for involvement. So if we can get wellness bucks attached to what we do, that's an additional incentive for the employee. Kind of controversial, because are they doing it just to get their wellness bucks, or are they really engaged and want and want to get better? So the wellness bucks are good. I'm not sure they're the biggest hook for a lot of people. So, they might be a hook, but then are they really going to make lifestyle changes, that kind of thing? So, okay. I know you guys have burning questions. What do you think, or thoughts, or love it, hate it? Maybe this would work. Let me just also say, this is a work in progress. This is where I've evolved to my last, 3 years in trying to do this, and this is where we're at, and I'm excited, and we've got great relationships with all the people that I mentioned today. They're just really like, okay, just tell us what you want to do, Donna. Tell us when you're going to be here. That's pretty much where we're at. So I think, that part is really pretty cool. Anyway, I'll let you guys talk now.
How many companies have you connected with so far?
Well, the NPR group, the big Missouri company, that is actually a cluster of companies. That's what's pretty cool.
That's helpful.
Yeah. It's a cluster of city employee groups, like the city of Springfield, or the Greene County employees of Missouri, or those kinds of things, or schools. It's got a bunch of schools, so it's government employee groups, I guess I could explain it that way. And it's all under this umbrella called Midwest Public Risk. So apparently a lot of companies, especially smaller companies like a city employee group, they're farming out their benefits management. So this NPR is sort of a bit, and that's my understanding. I'm sure that's not technical enough, but that's how I understand it. So they're farming out their benefits management to this group called NPR, and it's Midwest Public Risk. I can't remember the P is. I think it's Midwest Public Risk. Anyway, so Midwest Public Risk has Cigna, and we're in network with Cigna. So that is why. So what I'm doing with them, there's a wellness director basically who, oh my goodness, he is open to anything I want to do. It's pretty amazing. So he's given me connections with all these little cities and counties, employee groups around Missouri. Actually, it's Missouri, Kansas. I can't remember if there's one in Arkansas too. So I don't remember, but that's kind of that scope, and that's where. So there's a bunch of them in that group. When I meet on Thursday, so what I'm doing Thursday, oh my goodness, I'm doing a live cooking class with this group. And so the way that it's designed, there's 36 attendees in this group, and I bring electric skillets and all the food for the whole group. Wow. But I only do like 11 electric skillets. So there's sort of teams. So there'd be like cooking stations. So there's there's 3 to 4 people at a cooking station, and I bring the food, and I bring the equipment, and I bring the knives and forks, and I bring, yeah. So anyway, so it's a giant event, but really impressive, you know. And so they actually cook their own, it's basically their luncheon, and so they cook their own food and they eat it then. But I walk them through and talk whole foods, and you know, we have a few, like I have one of the dishes that we're going to be making is sort of spaghetti squash with a marinara sauce, and so the marinara sauce is jarred, but it's all you know, approved ingredients and that kind of thing. So just teaching them how they can eat whole foods, cook whole foods, and it doesn't have to be everything from scratch, you know, that kind of thing. So, or that in the middle. Anyway, that's going to be, I did one in spring and it was hugely successful. Now, I charge a lot of money for it because it is a ton of work, ton of work to carry all that stuff. I have to go buy everything. I have to portion everything. So if any of the Springfield dietitians are around on Thursday and want to help, they're welcome. But it's a cool thing. Yeah. Anyway, we're doing it at a local. We did it at Mercy Hospital last spring. We're doing it at another local, Jordan Valley Clinic, for those of you guys in Springfield. So another clinic here. So it's cool. And so there's 36 potential clients from there. Yeah. So I have actually already have an email. I have a website team that I work with too. So they've developed an email that will go out as soon as the program's over that says click here to sign up, you know, to schedule your appointment with Donna to talk about your wellness program. And so we're trying to make everything at least at the fingertips and super easy to sign up and meet and get this going. And I have to tell you, every single wellness person I have had a conversation with. So if I can get that conversation, every one of them is agreeable. Everyone. I have not had one person say, oh no, we don't really need that or anything. You know, once I explain, you guys have these biometrics, what are you doing with them? And they all say nothing. You know, they're just not, they've got this great gold mine of information that's just sitting there. And we've got this great service, this great free service that their employer has paid for the benefits for them to have, and it's not being utilized. It's literally sitting on the shelf. And every one of them agrees. Every one of them says yes. When, you know, it's just a matter of, I think I've dropped the ball and that I didn't have a plan. Like they're saying yes, but then I'm like, oh, crap, now what do we do? You know? So now I feel like we've got a plan. I feel like we've got a structure. This is what we want to do. We want to get on your property. We want to talk to your employees. We want to get them engaged in signing up for the MNT. So I'm going to read a real quick message from Lucinda. That was so cool. I didn't realize you were so whole food focused, and I love it. I'm getting married in March. Yay! And we'll be living in Wyoming starting in April, so I'll be able to get some house. Absolutely. And that's what we're trying to really do is grow the telehealth, because this message is too important just to stay in Springfield. You know, and I know you guys are doing all you can to get the message out. This is just another vehicle. This is a population we need to get to, and let me tell you why. These are the folks that are gonna have diabetes. Okay, that's what we're looking at. These are the gonna have diabetes population. And if they didn't have these biometrics of their employer, they would have no idea that they were gonna have diabetes. There's not doctors just basically screening every 45-year-old heavyweight, you know, heavy person. They just aren't doing that. So this is a population that needs us. We need to get in there because they've got this gold mine of information, and it's just sitting there. So I want to help connect them between this great information, how they can change their future, and have such a healthier future. As a diabetes dietitian, I know we all work with diabetes, but I work with this, as I said, online company that contracts with pharmaceutical companies. So they're all about the drugs. They're loving their drugs and loving all these new designer drugs and all of that. And the nutrition message is traditional, so it's not working. It's the traditional message. And these docs that just have, you know, these patients that are on 4, 5 diabetes medications and they still can't bring their blood sugar down, you know they're not eating right. I mean, it's just, it's not even and anyway, I'm very, very scripted in what I'm able to say with this online job. So, you know, man, I'd love to say, okay, stop right there and get rid of all the sugar in your house and, you know, really talk to them about that. I'm just not able to do that. So this is our avenue. And there may be many other companies out there, but in our area, there's not. And after talking to a lot of dietitians, when I sort of put this email out there and talking to dietitians across the country, it's not anywhere. You know, nobody's getting in there. Rebecca in California, she worked for a wellness company, so I thought she'd have a lot of insight, but it's not. It's just that it's just all traditional. It's all calories, you know, cutting back calories, or, you know, oh, you just need to exercise more and that's going to fix it. But people aren't getting the right message to the people who need it. So this is our avenue. And so it maybe have to be telehealth. You know, it's just access is a big deal for in the whole insurance industry now. And so telehealth is being supported and paid for more and more. So we can do these telehealth visits and still charge the insurance just like we would if it was face-to-face. My question is this. So anyway, so a couple things I keep thinking of new questions like, okay, are we sure it's going to work? And every question I've asked, the answer has been yes. So every time I think of a potential barrier or potential obstacle, it's been no big deal to get around. So that's the good news. My question right now, and I just kind of thought of it recently, is if I do telehealth with somebody in Arkansas, is that considered that the service was in Arkansas, or was the service in Missouri? And that might change things again. It's not an obstacle that would be a problem. We just need to make sure we're honoring dietitian licensure or medical nutrition licensure wherever we're at. So I want to be sensitive to that, that we don't start to break licensure laws, because we just don't want to do that. We don't want to have that problem. So the only obstacle I've gotten, the only pushback I've gotten from any companies is when it's a national company. And then they say, we cannot offer anything in one location that we can't offer everywhere. So that's what happened with Jack Henry. Jack Henry was the company that we were saying was a national company that really wanted to offer it nationally. They're still haven't said no. They just said they have a couple other priorities and let's talk again early in the year in 2019, which gives us time to establish some infrastructure, to establish some policies and procedures, get us up and running, and then when they're ready to roll out nationwide or pilot or whatever they want to do, we are more prepared. We are in a better position to move forward with that. So yeah. Long answer for a short question. Sorry, Lucinda. So Lucinda says, sounds like a good business plan and good model in current time for the telehealth and holistic nutrition. I don't mind having a license for several states. So that would be, that'd be the kind of the question. Like we're just gonna have to make sure we have a licensed dietitian providing the service in each individual state. I think that's all. Mm-hmm. I've talked to a bunch of people. I've talked to insurance coders, I've talked to billing people, I've talked to the IT security manager at Cox Hospital, and again, expecting it to be a problem, expecting someone to say, oh, no, you can't do that. And everybody's like, oh, yeah, that should work. Just make sure you do this and this. Okay. So that's kind of where we're at. I don't think if there's anything else. It's just really going well. So right now what I do is I will, I have a, private practice M&T business. I'm probably seeing 10 10 patients, 10 to 15 patients a week. Charging the insurances, doing follow-ups with them. Some people are self-pay. You know, if I'm not in network with them, I'll do some self-pay. And then doing this marketing thing. Temporarily, I'm just helping with a consultant at Mercy, as I mentioned earlier. And then doing the online program. And the video online, I will just give you guys the name of that. It's called Fit4D, FIT 4D. And occasionally they're hiring dietitians or non-CDE dietitians, I will say that. So when most of the time they just focus on diabetes and only are hiring certified diabetes educators, but occasionally they do dietitians as well. And I don't want to not tell you about that if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, but I just will tell you my experience with it has been generally good. But it's very scripted. They're very traditional in their message, and the programs are very, the program that I work on, and I think this is what they're hiring for right now, is one of the pharmaceuticals. So it's very much about medical adherence. That's pretty much the big objective, is really making sure they're picking up their drugs. So is kind of that thing. But other thoughts, questions, anything?
It sounds like a really great business model and definitely great for telehealth. Is there anything that kind of like the dietitians that aren't located in Springfield can do to help you network, even though not actually there physically, to help with some of these things that you're starting in 2019?
You know what, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but if you think of something, please reach out. If you find out that a company that maybe is a national company and maybe has an office in Springfield, or even probably an office in Missouri, let's say that. So if you find out, let's say you're working with a company, you meet somebody, you find out they have one of those 3 insurances, reach out to me and I will try and connect with somebody locally and just start the conversation. If we can even convince them to do a pilot in Springfield or in Missouri, or a pilot there. I mean, we're not opposed to branching out. It's just that these are the people that I've spoken to. But if you find out, companies that have those insurances that maybe have something in Missouri or a contact person or whatever, basically, let's not even limit it. Let's just say if you hear this, a company that has those insurances, Cigna, Anthem, or United Healthcare, just reach out to me and I'll do the footwork on it. I appreciate that. The thing about it is they all cover a little differently. That's another thing. So like Anthem will cover unlimited visits. So Anthems are great. Cigna only covers 3 visits and United Healthcare only covers 1. So that's fine, whatever, we'll take what we can get. And that's annually. So in the next year, they would cover that again. So if we can start relationshiping with some people that maybe want to do their annual nutrition visit, and I'm trying to kind of, frame it that way, that, yep, everybody needs an annual nutrition check-in. So you need your nutrition checkup. So next year, so we haven't done that as far as automating that, but that could be something in the future where, it's time for your nutrition checkup, your annual nutrition checkup. And we might even tell them that, okay, great, we'll talk to you again next year. Expect, we'll just follow up and just kind of always be sort of in the realm there. That would be very cool. Let me tell you guys this too. The platform that I use is Get Healthy, GET, healthy with an IE at the end. And that is the platform that I use. Let me think about this. It's HIPAA compliant. So that's where we do all of our scheduling. That's where we do all our documentation. That's where we do all my billing. It's really cool because the clients can get that as an app on their phone, and they can communicate with you on that. So it's more privacy protected than like texting. So they can actually, a lot of my patients will actually take a picture of their meals and send them to me. And then you would get a feed the next day when you come in and open that Get Healthy. And I have a feed when I come in of all the people that communicated with me. They also can enter their metrics. So what if you might set a metric for somebody to be tracking? So maybe they're tracking carb intake or minutes of exercise, or they send me their weekly weights or something. They actually can enter that metric in either on the computer or on their app on their phone. So what I was thinking was I could enter you guys in as clients on there, and you would get an email. And the only reason I say that is you could get into it and see and start playing with it a little bit and see what it looks like from the client end. Get it on your phone, put all your information in. It'll ask for their insurance information and their credit card information and their address and all that. And then there's some nutrition questions or some medical questions they can answer. So when you would go to do your telehealth visit, you could pull that patient up right before you talk to them, and you'll have some of that information already. They also can put in why they're coming to you, weight loss, or I have diabetes or whatever. So you'll have a little bit of background information up front. So anyway, you could play with that a little bit. So I'll put you guys in and you'll get an email. Play with it or not, that's totally up to you. But you can do that, and that's what I use. And the clients actually can go and schedule for themselves on there too. They can set up their own appointment. And occasionally I'll go in and somebody I don't even know has scheduled an appointment. And so I just need to confirm if it'll work. Okay. And then again, this is an evolution. I'm kind of even thinking of changing the name to Bright Sky Nutrition and Associates. And we would have, you guys all would be an associate. And then because it'll be, I don't know, I'm playing with a bunch of different things right now. To maybe even get you guys up and running a little quicker. Yeah, I'm having some thoughts about that too, where you could actually do a little bit of your own sort of mini private practice under the Bright Sky Nutrition, where you'd be able to use My Healthy, you'd be able to use, we could just use my NPI number, so you'd be already covered by those insurances and things like that. So if you're interested in that too, let me know. I'm still kind of putting that, I was gonna kind of roll that out today, but I don't feel like I've got enough of that figured out from my end. But if you're interested in maybe doing that, starting your own sort of telehealth private practice, I'm kind of thinking about that as having associates that we would do in that way. So if you're interested in that, that sounds good too. I just don't have all the T's crossed on that. Yeah, actually you'd all have to have an NPI number. But when I charge insurance, I charge Bright Sky Nutrition. Bright Sky Nutrition, that's my private practice business, and it has its own NPI number. So although I have to have an NPI number, Bright Sky is what I charge under. So you would have your own NPI number. We'd file under the Bright Sky NPI number, and then I would funnel those funds to you. So it would be that kind of thing. So yeah, that's how it worked. And Shannon can probably speak to this. She actually got her own, since we've been speaking, has gotten, not today, but over the last few months, she went ahead and got her own NPI number, and it was pretty easy. Do you want to speak to that, Shannon?
Yeah, you just, I can, I guess, forward out the information, but you just go under the government website, and I applied for it, and within literally the same hour, I got the NPI number. It was a couple months back ago, and so the details aren't fresh on my memory, but it was really quick, and it's free, and it's pretty easy and painless. You just fill out a short kind of questionnaire asking them, who it is that you kind of work for, where it is that you live, your personal information, and you get kind of like a code that identifies you as a provider, that if you were to do your own private practice or apply for insurance, they know that this is you providing that service. That's what I'm thinking, but I'm not too eloquent when it comes to insurances or billing or any of that stuff.
Yeah,
But that's
so
what I'm
right. And so if you were going to do, if you even worked for a hospital and you were doing outpatient where they were charging for your services, you would need an NPI number. So so I got one when I worked for Cox years ago. So I had one and didn't have to do that this time. But I definitely got had to get one for the Bright Sky Nutrition. I had to get an NPI number for them separately. So it has its own NPI number. So, that's how I kind of envision that working, that it would be just billed under the NPI Bright Sky that I already have in those insurances. And so, and then we would go from there. So, so I'm kind of thinking of putting that together too. So it would be, the advantage to you guys is that so much of it's already set up, and you could already use, because I can have more providers on that Get Healthy platform. It would be a cost, but like I said, I don't have it all figured out yet. So, yeah, Lucinda is saying, oh, you guys can see that. She already has an NPI number and works for a consulting company out of Tulsa. Yeah, that's how that works. So just learning. My mom's like, how do you know all this? I'm like, oh my goodness, just figuring it out, just coming up against another obstacle and figuring out how to get past it. So yeah, I think you guys are updated. Okay, that's all I can think of. Any other questions or thoughts on any of that?
I think it'll really be cool to get in and get to see the Get Healthy platform and like see it from a perspective. And yeah, it would be neat to start working on that more.
Good. I'll do that right after we're done here. I'll put you guys in there, and yeah, I'm trying to think if I should just do you guys or to everybody that was on the email. I think I'll just do you for now, and then if anybody else watches the video, they can. And I'll send this video out to everybody so you can have review. If they can have a review of the discussion. Okay. All right. I think that's all for now. I will continue to keep you guys updated. Probably, I'm betting we'll schedule another video like this at the end of January, because I will have gotten through a few more things, and my schedule is pretty packed right now just because of helping out at Mercy, but I'll be done with that mid-January, and then we'll get back on track with all of this, and maybe have a little bit more information at that point. So. Okay.
Good.
All right. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great Saturday.
You too.
You too.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.